Hello and welcome to this channel. I hope you enjoy this story. I'm going to try and upload each day. The Safe Haven. The sun was setting as the group of people made their way through the woods. They had been walking for hours, ever since they had escaped the small town that was being overrun by zombies. They were all exhausted, but they knew they couldn't stop. If they didn't keep moving, the zombies would catch them. The group consisted of 4 people, 2 men, a woman, and a young boy. The men were named John and Michael, the woman was named Sarah, and the boy was named Timmy. They had all been friends for years, and they were determined to survive this together. They had been trapped in the town for 3 days. The zombies had come out of nowhere, and they had quickly overrun the town. John, Michael, Sarah, and Timmy had been lucky to escape. They had managed to find a car and drive out of town, but they had been forced to abandon the car when it ran out of gas. Now they were on foot, and they didn't know where they were going. They just knew they had to keep moving. They had heard rumors of a safe haven, a place where the zombies couldn't get to them. They were hoping to find that safe haven before it was too late. The woods were dark and silent. The only sound was the crunch of their footsteps on the leaves. They all kept their eyes peeled for zombies, but they didn't see any. They were starting to think that they might have made it out of the town after all. But then they heard a noise. It was a low, guttural growl. They all stopped and listened. The growl came again, closer this time. They knew it was a zombie. They turned and ran. They didn't know where they were going, but they knew they had to get away from the zombie. They ran through the woods, branches scratching at their faces and brambles catching at their clothes. The zombie was gaining on them. They could hear it crashing through the underbrush, getting closer and closer. They were almost out of breath, but they couldn't stop. They had to keep going. Suddenly, they came to a clearing. In the middle of the clearing was a small cabin. They didn't know if it was safe, but they didn't have any other choice. They ran to the cabin and burst through the door. They were safe. The zombie couldn't get to them in the cabin. They all collapsed on the floor exhausted. They had made it. They looked around the cabin. It was small and sparsely furnished, but it was better than being out in the woods with the zombies. They decided to stay there for the night and hoped that they could find a safe haven in the morning. They woke up the next morning and cooked some breakfast over a fire. They were all feeling better, and they were optimistic about finding a safe haven. They finished breakfast and packed their things. They were ready to go. They left the cabin and headed back into the woods. They worked for several hours, but they didn't see any sign of a safe haven. They were starting to get discouraged. Just when they were about to give up, they saw something in the distance. It was a large building, surrounded by a fence. They didn't know if it was a safe haven, but it was the only thing they had seen in hours. They decided to go check it out. They walked up to the fence and peered inside. The building was a military base, and it looked like it had been abandoned. There were no zombies, and the fence was still intact. They decided to go inside. They entered the building and found that it was deserted. There was no one there, and it looked like it had been empty for years. They explored the building, looking for anything that might help them. In one of the rooms, they found a map. The map showed the surrounding area, and it had a mark on it that said Safe Haven. They were so excited. They had finally found it. They followed the map and soon found the safe haven. It was a small community of people who had survived the zombie apocalypse. They were welcomed with open arms, and they were finally safe. John, Michael, Sarah, and Timmy were grateful to have found the safe haven. They knew that they would never have made it without each other. They were a family now, and they would always be there for each other. They lived in the safe haven for several years, and they raised Timmy as their own son. They were happy and content, and they knew that they would never have to worry about zombies again. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this story. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.